So when we're in here, if we want this to make it look like this is water, we would want there to be like not the same level of opacity. You would want it to be semi-transparent because obviously if it's something reflecting on the water, you would see the water through it. So what we're going to do is the opacity right up here within our layer options, we're going to go ahead and click on that and we're going to drag it down just a little bit so that it's semi-transparent. Do you see that? If I bring it all the way to 0, it disappears entirely. But I can choose like how much I want it to show up. So I kind of like that. It's at 60%. I can always change it later. I'm not committed to this. So I'm going to leave it at 60%. When you're happy with it, that's fine. So, and that's the opacity. So I kind of like how this looks so far. I think it looks pretty nice. So what we're going to do is now we're going to kind of play with this beautiful night sky. All right, beautiful night sky. So now we're going to start using a couple new tools for you. So let's give it a shot, shall we? So we're going to go and we're again going to create a new layer. We're going to call this, depending on what your image is right now, you could call it a sun, a moon, an orb of light, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a moon. We're going to say that this is kind of like a moon-esque design. It's more of like the sun is setting and you're like seeing the moon. It's very futuristic, but whatever. So we're going to call it the moon layer. And what I'm going to do is I want to create a moon. There are 2 ways you can do this. We're just going to make a very simplistic opaque moon. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our brush right here. So we're going to click on that. And all your options for your brush is right here. They always show up all the way up the top. I'm going to go and I'm going to pick, they have different options. You can pick a soft round, hard round, and we'll talk about these when we get into like digital painting and everything else. And there's like all different types of brushes that you can pick. But for this, we're just going to pick a hard round brush right here. I'm going to pick that. And then I'm going to play with the size. And you'll notice I bring it to my artboard a lot to see how big it's going to be, that circle. Again, if you have caps lock on, it looks like this. It becomes a plus, and you don't want that. It's harder to see kind of what you're trying to paint with. So just make sure your caps lock isn't on so you can actually see the circle. So I'm kind of figuring out how big I want my moon to be. Oop, that's way too big. Like, I don't hate that size, but I want it like in a halfway between. Let's see. You can also type in numbers. I'm going to go ahead and put like 700 and see. Okay, that's what I want. Is that what I want? Nah. Oh, it jumped so much. Let's try 560 or 569. All right, okay, we'll go with that. So I'm clicking enter. So I have this, all right? I have my moon layer, and what we have to change is down here, we have to change this color, right? Otherwise, if I were to click, I'm gonna have a moon that is black, and I don't want that. I want a nice, for this, I'm gonna use like a white or a gray or a light purple or whatever color, but I don't want a black moon. So just make sure your opacity and like all of this is at like 100%, so that when you go and click on here, there's kind of, it's going to be like very opaque. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on the box right here, and I can pick my color. So I can either set it as white, but that might be too much. So if I hover over my board, my artboard right here, I can actually, a little eyedropper appears, and I can pick the colors that are in here. So I actually want this color. Like I kind of want that like orangey kind of color. I'm making it a little closer to white, but I want that orange color. So once you're happy with your color, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to click wherever you want. You have your moon. Now, if you want your moon to kind of be behind the mountains, if I click like this, all I have to do is drag this layer, this moon layer, below my mountains. As you can see, then it will go behind the mountains. So I'm going to undo that right now. So wherever you want to put your moon, I kind of want my moon to be bigger now that I'm looking at this. Oh, that's why. Why do I keep doing that? Let's make it like kind of big. Yeah, maybe like that. Maybe like this. Let's try that. So I'm going to pick my moon and I'm going to put it right there and I'm going to drag it behind my mountains. So it looks like that. And I kind of like that. You can move it as well by once you put it where you want, you can grab your move tool, you can drag it. You can either drag it this way or you can use your arrows to kind of select where you want it. So maybe I'll have like a moon rise, but find a place that you like your moon or sun, whatever you're calling it. Nah, I don't hate it. I think I like it there. So that's where I'm going to put it. I think that looks pretty nice. And you could have also made this a gradient if you felt like it. So when you're happy with that, we're going to also put in some stars. And the easiest way that we're going to put in stars, and I'm just going to keep that on my moon layer, just going to keep it all together. It makes it kind of make sense. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over to my brush again. I'm going to change the size. I'm going to bring it way, way, way down. Maybe to that. So I'm at like 21. And I'm going to put a few little stars in there. And I can change up the colors if I want. Maybe I'll go in here and like pick like that color. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set just a couple of stars in there. And I'm just clicking once to kind of stamp it. Okay. And then what I can do is also make it a little bit smaller, really tiny. And I can pick the color again by clicking here. Maybe I want that to be a little bit brighter. I'm going to go in here and set more stars. And you can keep doing this for as many, like, if you want a full galaxy, you are absolutely welcome to do that. So I'm going to click here. Maybe I'll make like a light purple. I like stars, so we're just going to throw a bunch in here. Okay. And I'm not really worrying if I go over to the mountains because this is beneath the mountains. You're not going to see it anyway. So I'm just going in here. I can click on the color. I'm going to make a couple for this color. You can see, right, that some of them are much brighter than others. I can change up the size of my brush a little bit. I'll make it like 12. It kind of stands out a little bit more. But I can make a night sky, right? If you're really into zodiacs, you could probably put your entire like celestial body in there if you felt like it. Okay, so I'm just sticking all my stars in here, and I'm just clicking once to make the nice little circles. All right, so I kind of like that. I even might make a couple big ones. Let's say they're like planets. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make a couple bigger, like that. I think that looks kind of nice. All right, so once we have our moon kind of where you like it, what we can do is we are going to do a reflection as well. So in order to do this, we need to make a copy of this moon layer. All right, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to click and we're going to drag it to make a copy. So we have a moon copy. And then we're going to transform it. So we're going to go to Edit, Transform, Free Transform, or Control T. And you'll get this again. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold down Shift. You're going to drag And you'll notice that it goes like behind the mountain, so it can be hard to see. So not holding shift, I'm just clicking, and if I hold shift, it will make sure that I like keep things kind of in order. So I'm just gonna hold down shift and I'm dragging it, and I'm kind of estimating where I think it would be. How far? Kind of touches. Yeah. And I can hold down shift again and stretch it out or stretch it down until I'm kind of like, yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. It's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm kind of looking at like how these mountains are touching it, and I'm not overly worried about kind of how that looks. Again, you can play with the perspective tool by if you click on here, you right click, hold on perspective, and you can stretch it. All right, so there we have my moon. It's a reflection. Once you're happy with it, click enter.